Hi everybody! Welcome to Day 16, Sensory Motor Competence. I'd like to introduce you to Steve Bryce. He's going to be the model today, and it's an opportunity for you to see how different bodies move. Let's get started. Yoga Pants and Plants. 30 Days of Compassionate Yoga is an invitation to journey toward being in the present moment. An opportunity to emulate the way nature lives in the moment. Be like a plant. Don't worry how you look. Notice how you sense and respond, like the way a tree reaches for the sun or a source of water. Nourish yourself with movement and stillness. Allow compassion to flourish for a little bit of time every day. Day 16, Sensorimotor Competence. Start today's practice in your own form of down dog. You can do it on the floor or you can do it with your hands in the chair. Notice, how does your back line feel today? How do your shoulders feel? How do your hips feel? These questions build sensory motor competence, and as we said, nourish self-awareness. This is our Soma scan for today. Since we were building up to doing a down dog at the end, this is a benchmark for what it feels like now, and at the end you will get to check in again. Notice your breath as you are in down dog. When you have a good sense of that, come to the ground and find comfort on your back. If you have been doing yoga for a while, you might not pay too much attention to how it feels to do down dog. Today's somatic practices give you an opportunity to pay attention to the muscles and to the joints involved in this complex posture called down dog. Going slow in somatic awareness activities allows you to notice reactions that might be like anger, relief, frustration, boredom, or big awarenesses. All of these are signs that our brain and body have a disconnect. So let your legs go long, do some cleansing breaths. Which muscles are relaxing and which muscles are tight? Notice the breath and where the breath is in the body. Does it feel shallow or deep? Can you breathe with ease or do you breathe with discomfort? How is your trunk? Do you have tension in that part of the body? Where do you feel at ease in the trunk? Place feet in effortless rest. Ease one foot in and then the other. Bring one hand to the lower ribs and belly. Feel your hand rise and fall with the breath. Ease into breathing. Bring the other hand to the heart. Feel the breath in the heart and up into the shoulders. As you exhale, let your body release. Allow the muscles to completely release. Feel the body rise and exhale for a sinking of the belly toward the spine. Again, feel the belly rise and exhale as the belly sinks toward the spine. With each breath, allow your mind to settle. Bring your arms close to the side and then allow them to take up space. One breath with them close and then another breath with them further away. See if that makes a difference in the restriction of your breath. Start with a simple arch and flatten. First, arch the low back and notice the extending of the front line of the body, and very slowly return to neutral. Then flatten the back and tighten the belly and return to neutral. Then expand the arch by feeling the shoulders come together just enough to feel, very slowly returning to neutral. Tighten the belly and flatten the back and allow the shoulders to round in, very slowly returning to neutral. Now we'll move into a bigger arch and flatten that is often called arch and curl. Interlace your hands behind your head. As you arch, press your elbows and head toward the floor. Relax to neutral. As you flatten, or in this case curl, support your head with your hands and bring your elbows up toward the ceiling, allowing the head to relax in your hands and keep the neck relaxed. Notice the movement coming up from the pelvis, up into the shoulders as they round, and the neck and head follow. Release to neutral. As you arch, press your elbows and head toward the floor. As you curl, bring your elbows toward the ceiling as a result of the movement from the pelvis and the shoulders. Try an arch and curl on your own. Release everything to the ground and breathe through the belly 3 more times. Let your legs go long. Take a few breaths here. Do you sense more ease in the breath? Releasing the tightness in the body allows the breath to move more and more free. Gently place your feet into the ground for a stabilizing foot press. Bring your knees in and gently roll to your side. Press your hands into the ground and come up very slowly to a sitting position, bringing your head up last. From here, you can move into a chair or you can stay seated on the ground. Find a steady and stable pelvis with a seated arch and flatten. Once you do that, put your hands on your legs and we'll do a seated arch and curl, allowing the hands to slide up and down your legs. As the back arches, the hands slide toward the hips and then release to neutral. As the back and shoulders curl, the hands move toward the knees. Repeat that 2 more times. As the back arches, slide the hands toward the hips and then release to neutral. As the back and shoulders curl, the hands slide toward the knees. One more time. As the back arches, the hands slide toward the hips, release to neutral. As the back and shoulders curl, the hands slide toward the knees. Leaving the hands on the leg, allow one hand to drop to the side and let gravity bring it toward the ground. This will allow your body to curl toward the hip, your side body. So notice that as you drop your hand down, the side body is curling from the armpit to the hip bone. And then return to neutral. Repeat that movement 3 more times on this side. So bringing the armpit closer to the hip and returning to neutral. Bringing the armpit closer to the hip and returning to neutral. Bringing the armpit closer to the hip and returning to neutral. Bring your hand back to the knee. Now we'll try some arm positions. So go ahead and drop the arm down again. Place the other arm across the body. And drop down. And then return to neutral. And then bring the arm up over the head doing a side curl and returning to neutral, bringing the armpit closer to the hip and returning to neutral, and one more time. The side curl on that side with the arm over the head, and then bring your hands back to your knees. Check for your breath and your steady, stable pelvis as you move to the other side. Place that hand down and let gravity bring it toward the ground. Allow the side body to curl toward the hip. Return to neutral. Do that 2 more times. And then bring the arm across the body, the other arm across the body, on the chest, and then dropping down, doing a side curl down to the hip and back up. And then lifting that hand up and over the head as you do a side curl down. And you can do that 3 times with your arm up over your head. So let's do a little check-in today. So far, you've worked on the hips and the side body. Now let's work with the arms, which are also involved in down dog. Cross your arms across the chest and tap the top of the shoulders. And this is just to bring awareness to the top of the shoulders, and then relax your arms down both sides. Slowly lift the shoulders up and slowly return to neutral. Try that again. If you think about it, when you lift those shoulders up, this is sometimes how we move without thinking about it, especially when we have tension. So this is an exercise that helps to bring attention to that, and then being able to find neutral. So do that one more time. Let the arms come up, the tops of the arms, and then drop toward the ground to neutral. Now we're going to go in the opposite direction, letting your arms drop toward the ground and then returning to neutral. Then try it again where you're letting them drop down, but you're actually slowing down the process to see if you feel any bumps or jigs or jags. And if so, just move more slowly, returning to neutral. So now go both up, slow, neutral, and down, slow, and neutral. Up, slow to neutral, down, slow, and back to neutral. Lift the arms bones up to be parallel to the ground. And you're going to be protracting and pausing in neutral and then retracting the shoulders. So in order to do that, you put your arms out in front of you and you push them out further and you bring them back and pause in neutral, and then you retract the shoulders, and you know if you're retracting them, if you feel like you're pinching them back like a pencil would be between those shoulder blades, and then relaxing to neutral and pausing. So do that again, protracting, bringing those shoulder blades out, coming back to neutral and pausing, retracting back, coming back to neutral and pausing, protracting, coming back to neutral and pausing, and retracting the shoulders, coming back to neutral and pausing. So now begin to lift the arms up over your head. This would be preparing them for how your hands are when you do down dog. First of all, make sure your lower spine is in a neutral, steady, stable pelvis. So you can do an arch and flatten to make sure that you're right in that middle ground. And then you bring your arms up, and your ability to sense just how far to bring them by judging what's happening in the lower spine. Once you feel that lower spine, as you bring that up, if you bring them too far, the lower spine could spill forward, or the pelvis could spill forward. So you just want to keep it neutral. So see how far works for you today, and then you can bring those arms back down. Now you can drop into a table position, hands on a chair, and the feet on the floor, or if you prefer, drop right to the ground with your hands and knees on the ground. Move from cat to cow slowly several times and notice the mobility of the spine. Then come to the neutral position of table and step your hands forward. Come into rocking table where you move between forward and hinging back at the ankles. If you are standing with the hands in the chair, the motion is the same, but it's more of a rocking plank. So move in that hinging back and forth for several times. Feel the natural position of the spine when you hinge forward, and feel the strength of your core and the mobility of your shoulders. Both shoulders and hips have flexion and the spine is neutral. Move in that rocking table or rocking plank a couple more times. Then curl your toes under and lift the hip bones up, drawing the navel up. Notice if the top of the shoulders are going up toward the ears. If so, release them. Remember to come up from the center so you're not over pushing with the arms. Keep the knees bent as much as needed. Drop back down into table or plank. Notice how the back line is feeling now. If you over rotate the shoulders, you will feel arching of the upper back. Curl your toes under and lift the hip bones up, drawing in the navel. Notice if the shoulders are going up toward the ears, and if so, allow them to release. Remember to come up from the center so you're not over pushing with your arms. Keep your knees bent as much as needed. Let this be an opportunity to scan the body now as compared to the first down dog that you did. What do you notice now? How does your back line feel compared to earlier? And your shoulders, how do your shoulders feel? How about your hips? How do your hips feel? From down dog, lift one leg up toward the sky and bring it slowly forward toward your hand, keeping your knee bent as much as needed. Then bring the other foot up to meet that foot in a forward fold. Now lift up halfway so your back is parallel to the ground, and then release into a ragdoll position. That's where your arms are connected and held at the elbows. Allow your torso to rest on your thighs. Take a couple breaths in Ragdoll. And then slowly rise to standing. We're going to keep moving. From a standing position, sit back into a chair where you're bending at the hip creases and the knees. You can put your arms in prayer position, up on your shoulders, or lifting above your head. You choose how much weight you want to add with your arms. Return to standing and check to see if you still have a steady, stable pelvis by doing an arch and flatten. Go back into chair again. Take 3 breaths. Return to mountain pose. Step 1 foot back, staying in parallel ski tracks. Allow the back foot to open slightly and bend the front knee into warrior one position. Place your arms into a position that works for you today. It can be near the body or add load and move up away from the body. Hold this position for a count of 3 breaths. In a warrior one position, the front leg is bent. Straighten the front leg and bring that back leg in slightly. And we'll move into a pyramid pose. That's where you fold forward, body parallel to the ground, and release. You can have the arms in front, or sometimes people want to hold their arms behind their body for a little bit of a stretch. And you can do that by placing your hands clasped at the elbows behind you or in a prayer position. Return to a standing position and step the foot that was behind back up into mountain pose. Now step the other foot back right away, staying in parallel ski tracks. Allow that foot to open slightly. Bend the knee into a warrior one position. Place your arms close to the body or up above to add load. Hold this position for a count of 3 breaths in and out. Straighten the front leg and bring the back leg slightly closer. Fold to a parallel to the ground position. Invite the arms to be in front or the back of the body and release like a string of pearls into pyramid. Gently return to a standing position and step the back foot up to mountain pose. From here, you can come to the floor and you'll go into a seated staff position on the floor. Bring a pillow to your legs and relax the body, draping it over the legs. This position is called caterpillar. It's just a way to relax. Breathe slowly and give way to gravity, making the body softer and softer. Notice how you're feeling with each breath. Notice sensory motor awareness your body has felt today. Sometimes we have a memory loss between certain muscle or muscle groups, and our body isn't necessarily remembering to use them when we go into certain poses. So by going slower, that helps us become more aware, and that's what sensory motor awareness is all about. So lift the torso up and gently, very, very slowly drop the body back to the ground for Savasana. Release vertebrae by vertebrae. Once you're on the ground, reach over the head and stretch, allowing the legs to stretch out long and wide. Let go more and more and enjoy a few moments of gentle music to guide your relaxation. You can wiggle your toes. Move your hands and arms a little bit. Bring those knees up to your body for a hug with your arms. And roll to the side. And then gently, keeping your body face toward the ground, gradually and slowly come up to a seated position. Give thanks for your awakening sensorimotor control. Namaste. Now, as you rise from your mat, don't forget to eat more plants. You will feel and move better. Follow us for tips at flowingyan.com.